Every single day, there are luxury sedans sitting on used car lots across America. Cars that used to cost more than your boss's bad financial decisions, now selling for less than a slightly abused Toyota Corolla. And no, they're not broken, they're ignored. The first car I'm about to show you, most people scroll right past it like it's a Craigslist scam. The last one? That one is so over-engineered for the price, it honestly feels illegal. Welcome to Old Man Garage, where we don't follow trends. We laugh at them. Today I'm showing you 3 luxury sedans that the market basically ghosted. I'm talking about cars that went head-to-head with the BMW 5 Series and Mercedes-Benz E-Class, and in some cases straight up embarrassed them. I'll show you why they're cheap, what will break, what probably won't, and how to not accidentally buy someone else's mechanical nightmare. And listen carefully, because if this first one already sounds like a steal, the last one might actually keep you up at night. Let's get into it. All right. We're starting with something that for a very specific group of people still hits harder than their first paycheck. Because there was a time when this brand wasn't trying to be almost German. It was trying to beat Germany at its own game. And honestly, it got uncomfortably close. The Lexus LS430, model years 2001 to 2006. And before you click away thinking, oh great, another old man car, yeah, you're not wrong. But also, you're missing the entire point. Because this wasn't just a luxury sedan. This was a flex from Toyota that basically said, hey Germany, we're going to out-engineer you and then we're going to make it boringly reliable just to make it worse. A fully loaded LS430 left the dealership somewhere between $55,000 and $66,000. Today, clean, well-kept examples are sitting between $8,000 and $14,000. That's not depreciation. That's a financial crime scene. And you are the beneficiary. Someone, somewhere, took a $40,000 to $50,000 hit. So you can roll around in what is basically a rolling engineering thesis. And here's the part most people completely misunderstand about this car. This is not a luxury car that happens to be reliable. This is a reliability experiment that accidentally became one of the best luxury sedans ever built. That difference matters more than you think. Under the hood, you've got the 4.3-liter V8, the 3UZ FE, 290 horsepower. Now I know what you're thinking. Only 290? Yeah. And a Dodge Charger owner will tell you that's slow right before their transmission files for divorce. Because this engine isn't about numbers. It's about how it delivers them. It is so smooth, so quiet, that at idle, you will legitimately question your life choices trying to figure out if the car is even on. You'll look at the tachometer like it's lying to you. At highway speeds, it doesn't feel fast. It feels like physics took the day off. And here's where it gets ridiculous. With basic maintenance, oil changes, timing belt service, fluids, these engines routinely go past 300,000 miles. There are documented cases over 400,000 miles. 400,000. That's not a car anymore. That's a long-term relationship. Meanwhile, people are out here leasing new cars every 3 years like it's a subscription service. Now let's talk about the transmission. 5-speed automatic. And before you roll your eyes because it's not a 10-speed dual-clutch spaceship gearbox, relax. This thing shifts smoother than most modern cars trying way too hard to impress you. Fluid change every 40,000 miles, and it just keeps going. No drama, no warning lights screaming at you like a Christmas tree. Just smooth, predictable operation, like it was designed by people who hate mechanics bills. Now step inside. And this is where things get borderline disrespectful to modern cars. Because remember, this was a $60,000 car in the early 2000s. Adjusted for inflation, you're basically sitting in something that would cost close to $100,000 today. Semi-aniline leather that actually feels like leather. Not like a fancy couch from a budget furniture store, real wood trim, not plastic pretending to be wood. Actual wood with grain, depth, personality. The kind of interior where your friend gets in, starts talking, and then just stops mid-sentence like, why is it so quiet in here? Because the NVH engineering in this car is insane. We're talking about a cabin so isolated from the outside world, it feels like you accidentally muted reality. And then there's the features. Mark Levinson Premium Audio System. And this isn't just premium like modern marketing likes to throw around. This is the same brand that makes high-end home audio systems that cost more than your entire project car. It sounds ridiculously good. Heated seats, memory seats, optional ventilated seats, navigation system that, okay, looks like it came from a PlayStation 2, but it still works. And then, because Lexus engineers apparently had too much free time, rear seat reclining with an ottoman. Yes, an ottoman. Because nothing says, I've given up on driving myself like kicking your feet up in the back seat of your own car. Now, quick pause. If you know someone out there about to drop 15 grand on a boring crossover that has the personality of plain oatmeal, send them this video right now. Save a life. Back to the LS430. Let's talk about the reality. Because no car is perfect. If you find one with air suspension, and a lot of the higher trims have it, expect that at some point, it's going to need attention. Compressor replacement? Somewhere between $400 and $800 at an independent shop. And here's the funny part. People hear that and run away. Meanwhile, they'll happily buy a used BMW 7 Series with zero service history and act surprised when it financially ruins them. The LS430? It tells you what it needs. You fix it. It moves on. No drama. No emotional damage. Outside of that? Oil, brakes, tires, fluids. That's your ownership experience. That's it. And that's why this car is so dangerous to the market. Because once you understand what it actually is, you start looking at everything else like, wait, why is this newer car worse in every way? So why is it so cheap? Simple. It looks like something your grandfather would drive to a golf course at 6:30 in the morning. The market moved on. SUVs took over. People got scared of V8s because gas prices went up for 5 minutes. And suddenly, one of the most over-engineered sedans ever built became invisible. Which is exactly why it's one of the smartest buys on the market today. And if you think this is already ridiculous, the next car takes a completely different approach. Less bulletproof Toyota energy, and more German engineer who hasn't slept in 3 days and has unlimited budget. And that one? That one has a piece of engineering most people don't even know exists. All right, now we go from "this will outlive you" to something that feels like it was engineered by a guy named Klaus who drinks espresso at midnight and thinks aluminum is a personality trait. The Audi A8, model years 2004 to 2010. And this one is dangerous. Not because it's unreliable, but because if you don't understand what you're looking at, you'll either overpay or run away from one of the most advanced cars you can buy at this price. A fully loaded A8 from this era, $75,000 up to $95,000 when new. Today, $5 to $9 grand. If you find a really clean one with records, maybe 10. That's not depreciation. That's the market having absolutely no idea what to do with this car. And here's why. Because the single most important thing about this car is something most buyers don't even know exists. The Audi space frame. Full aluminum construction. Not aluminum hood to save weight and impress your neighbor. No. The entire body structure. Aluminum. Which means this thing is roughly 40% lighter than a comparable steel luxury sedan from the same era. 40%. That's the difference between going to the gym and just removing the entire couch from your life. Lighter car means better handling, less stress on suspension, less stress on brakes, better long-term structural integrity. And here's the crazy part. You can feel it. Even today. You drive this thing, and it doesn't feel like a big luxury sedan trying to hide its weight. It feels tight, precise, like it actually knows what it's doing. Meanwhile, some modern cars feel like they're buffering mid-corner. Now under the hood, you've got the 4.2-liter V8, 335 horsepower, paired with Audi's Quattro all-wheel drive system. And if you've never driven a proper Quattro car, imagine having grip in situations where your brain is like, yeah, we probably shouldn't be doing this. 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds, in a full-size luxury sedan, in the mid-2000s, while you're sitting in heated leather seats listening to music that sounds like it's being performed live in your car. And yes, if you're feeling brave or financially irresponsible, there's the W12 version. 6.0 liters, 444 horsepower, 12 cylinders. In a car you can find today for under $12,000. That's not a car purchase. That's a questionable life decision, and I respect it. Now step inside, because this is where Audi decided to remind everyone that they were not playing around. Full leather interior that actually holds up if maintained. Real wood, real aluminum trim, not chrome-look plastic that scratches if you breathe on it. And then, the sound system. Bang & Olufsen. And if you know, you know. This isn't just good for a car. This is, why does my living room not sound this good? Crisp, deep, clean. The kind of audio system where you start listening to songs you don't even like, just to hear how they sound. MMI infotainment system, which, yeah, feels a little old now. But guess what? It works. And it doesn't randomly crash like some modern systems that need a software update every time Mercury is in retrograde. The seats? Heated, ventilated, massage on higher trims, multi-contour. You can adjust them so precisely, you'll spend 10 minutes just finding your perfect setting like you're tuning a race car. And then the ride quality. This is where it gets ridiculous. At highway speeds, the cabin is so quiet, so stable, that you genuinely forget how fast you're going, which is great, until you see a state trooper. Now, let's talk about the part that scares people. Maintenance. Because yes, this is where the A8 separates adults from people who just wanted a cheap flex. First rule, service history is not optional. If the seller says, I think it was maintained, you walk away like it just asked you for money. You want records, full records. Second, air suspension. At some point, it will need attention. Compressor replacement, roughly $500 to $900. And again, people panic. Meanwhile, they'll finance a brand new SUV for $700 a month and call it smart. If it's already been done, that's a huge green flag. Like, buy this before someone else does level green flag. Third, tires. Quattro system means all 4 tires need to match. Same brand, same wear. You're not mixing random tires like it's a clearance sale. Full set, $900 to $1,200, non-negotiable. But here's the thing. If you maintain it properly, this car is not the nightmare people think it is. The nightmare comes from neglected examples. From people who bought a $90,000 car for $6,000 and then tried to maintain it like a lawnmower. That's how you end up crying in a parking lot. But a clean, documented, well-maintained A8? That's a completely different story. That's German flagship engineering, aluminum chassis, quattro grip, premium audio, for the price of a used economy car that smells like fast food and regret. So why is it cheap? Reputation. That's it. Not engineering failure. Not design flaws. Reputation built on bad ownership. And the market doesn't take time to separate the two, which is exactly where the opportunity is. Now, if this already feels like you're getting away with something, the last car. The last car is what happens when a company decides, let's build the best thing we possibly can, and not care how much it costs. Over $400 million went into developing it. And today, it costs less than some people spend modifying their project cars, only for those cars to still be slower. Stay with me. Because this one is personal, all right. This is the one. If you've been sitting there thinking, okay, these are good deals, no, this is not a good deal. This is what happens when engineering and the used car market completely lose contact with reality. The Infiniti M45 and its slightly more sensible sibling, the Infiniti M37, model years 2006 to 2010. And this one is for people who want something dangerous, not unreliable, dangerous to your self-control. Because once you drive it, you're going to start questioning why you would ever spend more money on anything else. When new, a fully loaded M45 sat between $48,000 and $58,000. Today, $5,000 to $9,000. That's it. That's all it takes to get into a rear-wheel drive V8 luxury sedan that was literally built to fight the BMW 5 Series and Mercedes-Benz E-Class and not embarrass itself. Actually, scratch that. In some ways, it embarrassed them. And the reason is simple. Infiniti didn't try to out-German the Germans by adding complexity. They did it by simplifying the right things. Let's start with the setup. Rear-wheel drive, near-perfect weight distribution, double wishbone front suspension, multi-link rear. This wasn't designed to just feel nice. This was designed to handle, to actually drive. And when you push it, it shows. It doesn't feel like a big luxury sedan pretending to be sporty. It feels like a sports sedan that just happens to have heated seats and a really good sound system. Now, engines. Because this is where it gets fun. The M37 comes with a 3.7-liter V6, 330 horsepower, naturally aspirated. No turbos, no, we added 3 extra components just to make it complicated. Just a solid, high-revving engine that responds instantly when you hit the gas. It's the kind of engine that makes you downshift for no reason, just to hear it. Now the M45, that's where things get a little irresponsible. 4.5-liter V8, 325 horsepower, and more importantly, torque. Real torque. The kind that pushes you back into the seat and makes you grin like you just got away with something. 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds. In a car that most people assume is just another quiet executive sedan. This is what I call silent chaos. From the outside, it looks calm. Inside, you're having a great time. And the best part? No turbochargers. Which means less heat, less complexity, less, why is this repair bill the size of my rent? Now step inside. Because this is where people really underestimate this car. Leather seats that actually age well if you take care of them. Real wood trim. Not fake, not printed, not inspired by wood. Actual wood. Bose premium audio system that still sounds genuinely good. Dual zone climate control. Heated seats, ventilated seats on higher trims. Navigation system, which again, looks like early 2000s technology, but at least it doesn't crash every time you connect your phone. And the overall feel? Solid. Everything feels like it was built with intention, not rushed, not good enough. Now, let's talk reality, because again, no car is perfect. First thing, check timing chain components on higher mileage cars. It's not a guaranteed failure, but it's something you verify. Second, rear differential fluid on the V8 models. Simple maintenance, but people ignore it, and then act surprised later. Classic. Other than that, this is where it gets almost boring. Oil changes, brakes, tires, that's it. This is a car that a competent independent mechanic can handle without needing a PhD and a special laptop from Germany. Parts availability, strong, service, straightforward, ownership experience, shockingly normal. For something that feels this good to drive. And that's the problem. Because the market never paid attention to this car. Everyone knows the Infiniti G35. Nobody remembers the M. It just disappeared. While people chased SUVs, crossovers, and anything with plastic cladding and fake off-road vibes, this thing sat quietly on used car lots, waiting. And now, it's cheaper than it has any right to be. So what you're getting here is rear-wheel drive dynamics, a naturally aspirated V6 or V8, luxury interior, proven reliability. For the price of a used economy car that struggles to merge onto the highway, let that sink in. 3 cars, 3 completely different approaches, 1 identical outcome. They were built at a time when manufacturers were trying to prove something, not cut costs, not chase trends, prove something. And today, they're cheap for one reason only. The market moved on. Not because they failed, not because they're bad, because people stopped paying attention. And that is where the opportunity is. If this video changed the way you look at used cars, hit that like button so more people stop overpaying for boring vehicles. Subscribe to Old Man Garage, where we find the cars the market forgot, and remind you why they were expensive in the first place. And remember, the best car you'll ever own might already be sitting on a lot somewhere, ignored, underpriced, and waiting for someone who actually knows what they're looking at. See you in the next one.